Hello everyone, welcome back. In this video we will continue on building the viewing pod. Last time we left I think with the pad constructed, which is the platform itself. One thing we're going to do today, hopefully is going to be quick a quick video, is going to be these supports. So let's dive into that. This is what we had last time, like that. And I just realized something actually. It's these temporary lines that we created here for the support. It's because if you look at the photo, for example, they sort of sits a little bit past. If I can take this, they sort of sits a little bit sort of like in this line, you know. What we have right now, it's more like, I don't know, something around here, around this line. So we need to move this point um, in ours will be here a bit more outwards, if you know what I mean. So that's what we're gonna do. I think the best way to visualize this will be the top view. I might have to go shaded on that. And let's put that on. Yeah, so this is what I'm talking about. It's our point sits here when we expect it to be somewhere around there. So if you can turn on one of the points that we use to these points that we use to move it, you could argue that, hey, why not just use that point instead? This point, which is completely valid because if you look closely, uh, it is sort of on the same line as these. And that point that we just selected here is meant to create that point and the other point on the other end. So maybe that's a good decision to take that and then you use that point instead. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to turn that off because we know it's not that point, it's not those, but it's this. So we're going to replace what we originally had, which was this one, with this one. There we go. That's looks a bit long, isn't it? I think that's because I think our viewing pod is extended a lot more than it should. That's why it looks kind of long. But remember that we have the extension, I think this one. So if you put this to 6, it will extend a bit less, or even lower. 5, perhaps? Ah, 5, 5 is also okay. But that just means that we need to modify some of these parameters in order to make our viewing pod less, a bit more like that, something like that. Okay, enough with the modification on that point. Let's get started with the other points. Let's see, those are the lines. So we're missing that one. I believe we have that point. Where is, I think this one? No, it's this one. One thing we can also do is actually connect this point to that middle point already, the ones that's in the bottom of it. And I believe the bottom point is, well, it's not that one. It must have come even closest to curve. It should be a point closest to another point. I think this one. No. Where is it? This one? This one is the point evaluated on a curve, which is that curve. Okay. Oh, right. This is the point. Midpoint structure. Oh. Well, we already have it. It's actually this point. So let's just create a line from that. Doesn't matter which one you take. Well, not really, because they're all the same point. So you can either take this, that, or this. It's totally up to you. since we haven't really done anything to modify the point position itself, we only used it to gain additional information such as parameter for the curve in order to get our tangent vector. So let's just take that for a bit cleaner look. And we have to connect this one, I believe, to this point again. And these two lines make up the support that connects to our helix. You can actually give it a pipe command, but for that we need to have the tube diameter, which I thought this one. So let's connect this to the R. Remember to divide the number because we're got that from a diameter. We want to turn it into radius. So these are that. Actually, let's do it a bit like this so that we can have a bit flexibility. And then we can in the end say flatten all of it. And I don't want to see these anymore, so that's fine. We can have this one here, this merge all the way there, and these two I don't know, somewhere around here is fine. It's not displaying color. What color is this? Oh, that's the deck. Let's I'm not sure if I should create a new one or connect it to this one instead. I'll just copy that one then, and I'll paste it here and use that. There we go. And now on to the rest of the point, which I think is these. These are outer points. With the exception of those two actually. So we might have to create another merge in order to separate those. So if I disable that, and I think this is okay. So those are the points that we don't want, but we do want these two. We do want these two, and we want the last one. Here, this one. So these are the points that we want to have, basically. But one thing that I might want to change is there a way to? Okay, you know what? Let's just create this one instead, and then remove the first item, which would remove the ones that we don't want, unless there is there is no beam connected to that point, so we don't need it. So this is the point that we want to have, that we want to further modify. We might be able to move it up here a bit, or move this one down and then move this one up here. So these are the points. And what we want to have is this point should connect to that center point that we reselected, which is this one. So we create another line component. Another line component with this one as one of the inputs and this one as the rest. We should have the other beams. Forgot one thing though. The points are not on the plane that we want them to be. I think it should be on this plane. I'm not sure what plane that is at the moment. Let's see if I can look at that from the side view. That's my plane. It's can't really see that well. I need this to be below our, oh, that's the plane. Yeah, so I need this to be below our deck, which it is. So we don't need to do anything about it. But what we do want to have is maybe we can take these points instead. We just need to call the first tree basically, because the points are there. The points are here. You just need to call the first 2 points. Should we do that? Can we do that? These points are well, you could, but what are the? Then we need to find a way in order to remove the first tree. And I'm not really sure I can call the whole tree. Can I call the whole tree? Well, I can group them and call the first group, and then sort of ungroup them again. Maybe that can work. But there's another thing I want to change, or something that I possibly might want to change, is I don't, okay, for example, let me replace this one with this for now, and this one can go there. So what you see here, it sort of extends a bit outside our boundary, and what I would like to do is to have the points that you see here moved a bit more inwards. Okay, so maybe I can use this or that. Well, actually this one maybe. I can use this one to make the whole thing smaller. But still, I need to remove those 2 points. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say, let's group this. What do I have? What will I have? I should have 4 groups. And then I can flatten this one. Yeah. And then I can call the first group, which is going to be index 0. Okay. And afterwards, ungroup them in order to get my points back. Oh wait, I might have to flip this. Now I just remove one of the branches, so that's not gonna work. I need to find a way to identify which points are those, but since the ordering is so messed up, I might have to go back to this method, because this method is tried true. It doesn't include the points. That's the best part. So maybe we just have to do with that instead, but doesn't matter. We can just do this, and this will be our points, and we can still use one of these in order to sort of offset our point a bit to the center. Or what we can also do, actually, now that I think of it, I can use average. Oh, I can use average and take an average of those points. Let me see what I get. Not really what I hoped, actually, because I was hoping it would be more in the center of that. But let me see. Can I use move away? Geometry to move, which are these to move away from. The distance doesn't have to be that big. Let me test it first with a I don't know, minus 0.5. I mean, I think it's okay, right? If you put this here and disable all the points, let's have a look. I mean, this will be acceptable actually for us. So maybe this is just the method we're going to be using. Unless you want something more precise, which be my guess and try to use what you've learned up to now, or we use what you've been able to gather in terms of knowledge, and maybe apply that. If you do want to do that, like if you do want to, if I can open this one, if you do want to see like, hey, maybe I want to have my point not move in that direction, but I want it to be moving more in a sort of perpendicular direction, which you can absolutely do. It will move like this because this point is, because our middle point is just here. That's why it's sort of skewed. Actually, we can remedy that. But what I'm trying to say is, with the method, that if you want to do precisely, is you can have these points do closest point to curve, and therefore you get the parameter on that curve, and then you can say curve evaluation. Therefore, you will get a vector, and using that vector, you can move the points inward. Now, it may sound very like troublesome to get all this done, but once you've get it done, it's a one-time investment. You don't want to come back you don't have to come back here and move it or change it at all, because you will know the logic that you applied is going to be exactly what you wanted to do. But as I said, I discovered something. Instead of taking the average from that, what we can also do is take the average from this one, because this one include that one. And what that will do for us, it will sort of give the average a slightly centered point. Now, one thing you have to make sure is that, because remember that we've shifted all these points to a different height. So if you were to do it from here, what I expect is the average will be here. And when you say move away, it might have a different effect than what you would expect. So we can try that. We can try how many? Okay, I will get 4 points. As you can see, it's sort of like not touching, and that's because the average point is now is not on the same plane as below the deck, and therefore moving away from a geometry that's not on the same plane will modify their x, y, z coordinate system. Whereas if you move it on the same plane, they'll just move on the x, y coordinate system. So that's something to take care of, to take into consideration when you're trying to do the averaging. So instead of taking it from this will eliminate that problem of changing the z height, because they're all from the same height. Now, if I take that, let me enable this. Now this looks a bit more center, I guess. Well, actually, let's have a look. Let's have a look what kind of a. So this is the moved point. If we were to take the other, yeah, that does change a lot, as you can see from this direction here. So we're just gonna keep it from this one. You just have to remember. You just have to follow a bit more closely on this one, because this is quite important to do it right in the first time, because you don't want to come back here and unravel this mess and go back here and spend your time thinking, what did I do? So yep, let's just give it a name. Let's just say offset from edge. This should give us an idea what we've done with this one. So that's up for our beams. So let's enable that. Oh, should probably put this to render. So that's it for this part. We've created an interactive, or not interactive, but a parametric column. If you modify one of these, the whole part will change. Or if you modify one of these sections, meaning how many supports do you want, that will also change with it. Okay. The last thing we want to do is just copy this and then give it a name. We're gonna. Do we have viewing part? No, we don't. So this is what we're gonna call it. Oh, no, that's not going right. Viewing pots. I just noticed something. I should probably put everything in caps, because it's that important, you know. Because at work I also tend to rename all my parameters in caps, in order to sort of signify that these are important. Don't do anything with them, or don't remove them without knowing what you're trying to do with it. But you don't have to do this in caps if you don't want to. But as I said, this is it's probably gonna where I will end this video also. I'm not sure how long that's been, but I can have a look. 20 minutes. Oh wow. Okay. I didn't expect that to be this long. But that's okay. In the next part, we're gonna pick up these the geometry for a viewing part and try to find a way to make these cuts parametric within our Grasshopper definition. Because let's say that this part actually is here, then we want to have a script that automatically detects, okay, I need to cut these two and fix that hole, because it's not as simple as just, oh hey, you're intruding here, you're cutting intersecting here, therefore you will be removed. There actually is a lot of ordering going on in the background, a lot of points ordering that you have to take care of. And also one thing, every time, if you look at the bridge, I'm not sure if I have a picture of it, not this one, this one perhaps, nope, not this one, this one perhaps, yeah, this way you can see it. Like I said before, this is the major helix, right? It should be crossing here, but as you can see, wherever it's been cut, there is another sort of like thick beam that connects this helix with the other helix. So if we go back to our own model, what that means is if this were to be gone, you should have another beam that connects here. And the same thing happens for the inner helix. And to me, I think that's a really that part of the video itself could take I think probably several parts, because in my first attempt to create this, the the script is big. It has a lot of components. So it's not as easy as you think it is, but don't worry about that. That's what I'm here for. I will guide you to it, talk you through it, and show you what's the important thing to look out for and what we've done, so that maybe you can use the same logic and then apply it for your own design. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed it until this far, this tutorial series. And thank you for watching until this far, and I hope to see you again in the next video.